What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Hot Take. Today, we're in a track modified 2008 Mk5 Volkswagen Golf GTI. We have the owner with us, Teddy. He's going to tell us a little bit about this Golf. So go ahead and give us the rundown. What have you done to this car?
It's pretty extensive. I mean, motor-wise, not touched much, but it does have Golf R cams in it, like Mark 6 Golf R cams. It's tuned on 93. Probably makes somewhere around 250, 260 crank. Suspension is like fully redone, all poly bushings. I'm on coils, Swift springs, 12K front, 12K rear, sway bars. We got a seat, a steering wheel.
Repainted British Racing Green, which is gorgeous, by the way.
Got most of its bolts been touched.
Yeah, so everything's kind of been touched on this. You're gonna track it this summer. We're gonna compare this throughout the video to the Mark 7 Golf R track car that we drove a couple weeks ago now. This is essentially half the price of that car, so we'll touch back on that later. But with that, let's go ahead and hop on the road and see how she drives. You have a lighter flywheel on here?
Yeah.
I hear some of that chatter.
Oh yeah.
It's not too bad though.
Stage 2 clutch and a light wheel flywheel, and there's motor mounts, so you're gonna feel it like.
Oh, okay. All right, I like that.
There's no.
Oh, all right, grabby. Very grabby.
Yeah.
All right. I'll get the hang of it. Oh, I like the steering wheel a lot, actually. Okay. Oh, all right. I like that. Some initial impressions. Very, very mechanical feeling. This shifter, you said it's a short throw on here?
Yeah.
What short throw is it?
It's ECS one.
ECS short throw.
Yep.
Feels good. Oh, there's an IC46 behind us. Look at that, the roof rack.
Oh yeah.
You did also forget to mention in the initial bit you have aftermarket pads on here and race fluid.
Yeah, it's got RBF 600 fluid in it. It's RBF 600 brake fluid, Powerstop track day spec pads, and then it has Hancock RS4 like 200 treadwear tires on it.
Yeah. Well, this thing's really gripped up. Definitely feel the clutch setup. The reps want to drop quickly.
Yeah.
I like it though. This car feels really in tune with itself. That's the first thing I noticed as soon as I took off. Like the steering wheel weight with the way the pedals feel, the shifter feel, it all works itself. There's a lot of feedback in the steering wheel. I like that a lot. So you have poly on here.
Yeah.
Which places did you go poly and which ones did you not? And like how does that affect the car?
Well, so I did all of them at the same time. So every time I've done this car, it's almost like a all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's got poly on front control arms, rear control arms, rear like cross member arms or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Motor mounts, I forget exactly what density they are. They're 034 motor mounts.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, those brakes are bitey. This thing is extremely confidence inspiring. Here's the Z3. Oh, everyone's got their nice cars out today. It's very, very communicative to the driver. I'm blown away by the driver's feedback this car has. I've never driven a Mk5, but I've driven a lot of Volkswagens. And I mean, did you buy it stock?
Yep.
Well, how would you say this compares now to how it was stock? Stock was really rubbery and like mushy?
Yeah, stock was pretty mushy and kind of floaty kind of thing. I mean, it didn't stay stock for super long.
Yeah, right.
I had it for like a month. I did like a little refresh, but the coils and the poly bushings definitely have made a major change to how this car feels.
Which coilovers are on here again? I don't know if you mentioned.
Godspeed, so they're BC clones pretty much. much.
Yeah, they feel very, very stiff, but also very planted.
Yeah, they're they're not the top of the line ones. I think I'll switch to some KW V2 Club Sport V2s at some point, but
You got the money.
yeah.
I felt that notch you were talking about with
Yep.
third and fourth. No, super manageable.
Yeah, it's not horrible.
No, not at all. Maybe the short shifter plays a factor in it, but like I can tell immediately where that notch was and how it kind of wanted me to shift it. Got some burbles on the way out.
Yeah, I'd like to get them to not have quite as many.
It's quick. Gearbox is shorter than I would have expected.
It's pretty short in these cars. There's not really aftermarket gearing to make it much shorter because of how short it is.
Yeah, well, that's a big issue I have with the Mark 7. The Mark 7 GTI, the gearing is
so long.
So long. And here, if the Mark 7 had this gearing, oh my god, that thing would be a ripper.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect for this package because it's quick, but it's not too fast, and like you're not going felony speeds.
Yeah.
Instantly. And the way the car communicates, like it's a perfect balance. I've been in this car for all of like 5 or 6 minutes. I know how to drive it. It feels great. Like it fits like a glove. And that is just one of the best things I think you can get with like a car to enjoy either on the track or on back roads.
Right. I'm excited to get this out and start driving for real. It was a stance car for a while, like those, past year-ish, kind of. Finished it in May of last year and all the way through December.
Are you using the same coilovers that you had when it was stanced?
They are the same coils. They're different springs, so that's what made the major difference. Springs when I was stanced were about 3 times as stiff. So if you
so you wouldn't get any.
I don't know how bumpy you think this is. It's definitely not soft.
It's firm.
It's firm.
It's firm.
Especially when you're in that seat, you lose some of the padding.
Yeah, from the cloth. I had to really reach for that turn signal.
Yeah, they're a little bit ways away from the wheel.
Ooh, those brakes are good.
And they're not warmed up.
No, they're not warmed up. That was like half pressure, maybe.
If you get it heated up, when I went and bedded them in a week and a half ago,
yeah,
I was getting them warm, right? I mean, 45 to 10 mile an hour stops, and then you do like some 80 to 10s, and it's they get heat into them, and they're
grabby.
Mighty. And they're stock calipers, stock master cylinder.
Yeah, so you just have pads and rotors and fluid.
Yeah, pad rotors and fluid. Feel that notchiness.
Yep. Sounds good. It's a fair amount of torque steer.
Yep.
You expect that.
Yep.
High horsepower, small tire, front wheel drive car.
Yep. Downshifting, no issues, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's really.
Man, I'm probably not even close to 10/10ths this car. The tires are so grippy. They're just.
Yeah, they're not even warm either. I mean, they're decently warm, right?
Yeah, we've been driving it a little bit, but there's just you think you might be. You look at the speedo, you look at what the turn is, you're like, all right, this is probably good. You go more grip.
Yeah.
It just does not run out of grip. There we go. That's the brake. Have you ever gone full out on these brakes?
Oh yeah, in that bedding process, I was getting into some ABS, and it stops.
It stops. You could shed speed in this car. These brakes feel like they feel really oversized for this car. So the stock GTI calipers on here.
Yep.
Are they?
They're single piston calipers.
Interesting. Are they off of, like, what is their size? Are they off of a bigger car or anything?
No, they're made for this car. I mean, the rotor size is like 312s, so 312 millimeter rotors.
Yeah.
I think, I want to say Golf R's now are like 360 millimeters.
Yeah.
Like a newer Golf R, and I think I want to say like an RS3 or something, similar kind of size car. I think they're all newer cars, though. That's the thing. I think.
Right.
Like
they have a fair amount more weight, but not too much more brake. So these brakes are probably pretty oversized for this car, right?
Yeah. A lot of people say they don't. I mean, of course, you run into braking. Brakes overheating on track no matter what. But
Brake cooling is always an issue on a hot day on the on the tarmac. Yeah.
But a lot of people have said don't really worry about it. Besides pads and rotors that I've talked to that run these on track for a little bit, and then you can scale up to like Porsche, like a 17Z caliper.
Yeah.
Which are just OEM like Porsche. Though some people, say, oh well, that doesn't change it that much. RS3 master cylinders you can do too to help stiffen that brake pedal feel. I don't know what you think of it or how.
I think it bites pretty good initially. It has a decent level of modulation too, which is nice. These pads are great. I'm surprised at how grabby they are, even though we're like not at, I guess, what you'd call operating temp.
Yeah.
Are tunes expensive for these cars?
Off the shelves are like 500 to 600 ish mostly.
500 to 600. Yeah, that's like not
So,
a little amount.
Normal-ish.
Yeah, that's probably like pretty standard.
I think it's cool to mess with it on my own and try to learn and figure out exactly how it all works. Don't know a ton yet, but
Right, because once you pay for a tune, you're like, all right, well, I might as well use the tune.
right.
So at least try it first. Definitely feel the synchros not being really happy when you're up there.
Yep, that's my main complaint about the trans in this thing.
Great torque up there though.
The synchros really are not happy when you're high up.
No. Well, I mean, once you kind of give it a second, they do slide in. So at least there's no grinding.
Yeah, there's not grinding as long as you're
There's the brake.
They grab.
They grab. That's plenty of brake for this car. It's quick, very responsive, lots of driver's communication. I don't know what else you could ask for. Feels great.
Definitely makes for fun.
Yeah, it's fun. We've now finished our test drive of the Track Mk5 Volkswagen Golf GTI. My hot take, it was so much more communicative than I thought it was going to be. I think a lot of cars, as they started to get into the mid-2000s, started to kind of lose that edge that they had back in the 90s when everything was really mechanical throttle bodies, and you just had a bunch of feel and everything. But this car kind of captures almost like the last breath of that. The only thing that I think you lose out on a little bit is the gas pedal feel. It's linear, you know what it's gonna do, especially with the lighter flywheel. It's very good pairing, but it doesn't have any feel. But even the steering feel, you still get a lot of it. You feel very connected. The shifter felt amazing. The whole car just feels really dialed into itself. Similar to the Mk7 Golf R that we drove the other day. This is almost like the older, more mechanical feeling version of that. And I would say that I think this is a better value than that car. That car is a little faster. It has a DCT, but for the money you're spending on that car, you could spend so much less and have this. Now, if you were going to sell either of them, you'd lose greatly. But I think this is definitely like, at least for starting out anyway, like you're doing, it's like a much more civilized package, more manageable power, and a more, in my opinion, fun experience on the road. It's in that Goldilocks zone of horsepower, which if you've been a viewer of the channel, you already know that's my favorite type of car. But thank you, Teddy, coming onto the channel, showing the car. But with that, let's go ahead and give it a score.
The score is as shown. It scores about where I expected it to. The ride quality is firm and the overall features is pretty average for a car from the mid-2000s. On the weekend side, this car is nothing special. The driver's feedback was an overall high point. Should you buy it? Track modifying any car is always a losing proposition. However, relative to other track cars, I think you would do alright with this one. The 2.0T is a fun engine that is ready for more power. Then once you slap all of your suspension parts on it, the car communicates beautifully to the driver. The Mk5 Golf is small, nimble, and an overall joy to drive. If you want an entry-level track car, I would consider the Mk5 GTI as a solid option.